All right. Hi, guys. Welcome to Money Matters. This is Sunday afternoon here in Malaysia, and I am very, very excited. So, if you guys are tuning in, we shall just give you guys a couple of minutes to tune in and join me for this session. And if you're already here, I would like to ask your kind favor to just share out this link to your friends and family. I'm sure you may know somebody who has like would be interested to learn more about finances, or they should be paying more attention but they're not really paying attention. Just send them the YouTube link over and ask them to tune in and just spend the next 30 minutes learning something new about finance and entrepreneurship and all of that. So if you guys are new here, Money Matters is a show that I host weekly where we cover many different areas in terms of personal finance, entrepreneurship, and business and all of that. I feel like I personally am someone who don't really enjoy reading theoretical books. Like I don't really enjoy reading a lot of the books that tells you step by step this is what must be done. But I personally enjoy listening to people's experiences, and I think that is why I do Money Matters, so that all of us get the opportunity to learn from each other's experiences about money and learn from each other's mistakes, learn from each other's principles, and basically see what can we take from this other person's life and like implement it in our own so that we can do things much better. And it's just storytelling. I enjoy listening to so many different stories and learning from them. So if you're someone like me who likes a good storybook, then just this next 30 minutes is going to be like a mini storybook that we're going to listen to, and I can assure you there'll be something valuable that you can take away from this. We have interviewed so many amazing speakers. I think we have had youngsters who manage their finances in a good way. Some of them who have made big mistakes have also come on board and shared their experiences. We have entrepreneurs who share how they started up their businesses, what inspired them to do so. Taxation, investment, all these technical topics are also shared in this session. So, if you're someone who's keen to continue learning about money and not stop today, then one of the things you can do is actually subscribe to Money Matters. So this is a free show. All of you are welcome to tune in. But hey, all of us need a bit of reminders here now and then. So if you need a reminder from me to tune in for our sessions, then do subscribe to Money Matters. It's a the link is sent in the chat. So all you have to do is click and subscribe and join us for all of our sessions on Sundays. All right. So today's topic is I'm actually very, very excited for today's session because I think this is a topic that most people don't really talk about. A lot of us think that, if we learn the technicals or we work very hard in life, we'll be able to achieve the things. But sometimes there are underlying things that we are not aware of that will actually stop us from going towards our journey. I was lucky that I had mentors who have been guiding me over the years to figure out what is that those small little voice that I have in my head that stops me, or certain way I do things or think things or think how things should be done. That is what stops me from being successful. And I had my mentors to point this out to me. But not all of us may have this privilege. So do pay attention to today's session. We are going to be talking about limiting beliefs in money and entrepreneurship with Beryl Brockman from Soul Coach. I think she is amazing. The few times I've had managed to have a conversation with her, I truly enjoyed it, and I can assure you, you guys will enjoy it as well. So without further ado, let's welcome Beryl on screen. Good
Hi
morning.
there, everyone. Good morning. Good
How are you
afternoon
feeling?
to you. I'm fine, and it's wonderful to be here. And I'm so thrilled to actually be able to reach out to lots of different people and youngsters that are starting their journey or further along the line than I am. And hopefully, I can give you some help from my perspective. and let's see what comes up.
Yep. I think as just like always in all the other Money Matters shows, I always start off with some icebreaker questions that I like to ask my speakers, which my speakers don't necessarily enjoy, but still I will go ahead and ask those questions.
Yes.
This is the one that makes people most uncomfortable, right? Which is, what is the biggest money mistake that you have ever made? Because I feel like mistakes are the juicy part of anything. So what is the
Oh,
biggest
yes.
money mistake you have made?
That's the black hole that you step into and go boom. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think the two that come to mind, and I'm sure there are more. Okay, there are more, but The first one is when I gave money away, a substantial amount of money to a person who I believed as a sponsorship, to further his career. And actually, what I didn't realize at the time was that he was just a taker and he had no responsibility. And I was really throwing my money away. And fortunately, I stopped before it was like really dire, but it was a substantial amount of money. And so, my advice is, don't make that mistake. Always, if you're going to sponsor someone, if you've got some money to sponsor
Yep.
someone, do make sure that they are responsible recipient, that they give back, even if they can't give back to you in money terms, they at least show some sort of respect for the money you've given them, and can give you something back in kind. Not that you give it because you want something back, but the point is, you want your money to go to somebody that's responsible, don't you? You want
Yep.
it to be worthwhile. I threw that money away. I could have just as well thrown it in the bin. In fact, I should have taken it and gone on holiday and never thought again about it. That's what I should have done with it. It would have been much more use, because I didn't do that person any favors either. And that's the problem, because they didn't know what to do with it. That's why
Yes.
they were in that place in the first place. So that was one big money mistake. And the other big money mistake, and I made these mistakes when I had money to make mistakes with.
Yep.
Okay, before then I didn't have money. I didn't have money under my control that I could make mistakes with. And actually making the mistakes were cheap at the price. Okay, although the money was big, it was cheap at the price for me, because I learned that I'll never make those mistakes again. So the
Yep.
second one was, I paid for courses that didn't deliver anything like they promised they would. And they ask you, so there's a lot of people out there on the internet, take coaching, take this course, take that course. This is what you'll get. A, B, C, D, E, a pile of stuff. And you
Yep.
think, wow, this is great. And you sign up for it, and you find that they were just selling you empty air. And they tend, those people up front, they ask for huge amounts. So I would say the lesson I learned from that was, be very careful. Start small. Don't get taken in by the hype. Don't get taken in by the hype. Just listen carefully, and start with little bits. And when you trust the person or the organization, then slowly but surely you can pay out more. But before that, most of them just want your money up front, take it, and then tell you that because you've paid so much money, you're now committing yourself. Well, that you are, but you committed yourself to something that actually, with any money sense, you don't ever make an investment like that. That's
Yep.
madness.
Yep.
Okay. And it's so easy, you're so easily conned, if I can put it that way. So I made a huge mistake there, and I didn't make it once. I made it more than once to my, but eventually I learned the lesson. But try not to learn the lesson the hard way. Listen to my words. And if they're asking an exorbitant amount or encouraging you to pay on your credit card, get some advice from people you trust around you, and really think, okay, am I going to get value for this? So those
Yep.
are the money mistakes. And I'm very pleased that you actually asked me that question, because they might be not such big mistakes in other people's terms. I mean, like, you can invest in a company and it goes sour, and so you can lose lots of money, or you can make a wrong business decision as far as buying property is concerned. But those two, for me, I mean, if you can start there, you're doing well. That's what I
Yep.
think. Yeah.
Yep. I like that you shared about like giving, because I know a lot of people who do give, and then they're not really thinking whether the other person is actually ready to receive it, whether they know how to utilize that funds and all of that. But one thing I do notice with people who get into that scenario, right, where they make the mistake of giving money to people who are not ready to like kind of like manage it and all of that, but they have the tendency to keep doing that thing, like keep going back and giving the money and helping different people. They'll complain about it after it goes wrong, but then they're back to giving again. literally like a
Yes,
month
yes,
later on.
and
So like,
that points to what we're talking about. If you find yourself doing something in a pattern, you've got a
yep.
limiting belief. There you go, right there.
All right.
And
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah. And if
like what
you
kind
keep
of
going
limiting belief does
asking
this
for
person
money,
have?
sorry, if you keep asking for money, you've also got a pattern there, you know?
Yeah.
So if you keep doing things, it's like hitting your head against the wall. If you keep hitting your head against the wall, maybe you should think to stop sometime. And how do you do that? And that's always not so easy. And that's where my business comes in.
Yep. So maybe we can talk a little bit about what actually do you do, like in Soul Coach and in your journey of
Okay.
helping.
So my major my major thing is that I find beliefs that people hold in their subconscious that keep them doing the wrong thing. And I'm able to tap into their energy field, and I can see there, and I don't do anything without a person's permission.
Yep.
It's very high integrity work. I don't do anything without them knowing what I'm doing and giving getting their permission, and they're happy with what I do. And then we change a belief. I can change a belief within minutes. So define the belief, you lift it, so it never comes back again. And then often you give a teaching or you give a belief that's going to be more positive. So going in the future, a person will automatically make better decisions.
Yep.
So you don't have to think about it, once you've lifted a belief, because you don't think about the belief that you've got at the moment, do you? The beliefs that you function on, you're not thinking about it, you're just doing it. So
Yes.
all we're doing, it's like a computer. You've got a virus. You find the virus, you take it out, you reprogram it, and then it automatically works. It's a very beautiful system. So
Yep.
that's what I do in a nutshell.
All right. All right. So like, for example, like the person, I mean, the example I gave earlier, like they have, what exactly is the belief that they have that would cause them to like keep making that mistake of like giving money to the wrong person and all that?
Yeah. So if we take that as an example, okay. If I just think about it, maybe let's take me as the example. Maybe I should look at this. Why did I decide to give that money out? Okay, so if I look inside myself, so I'm doing this while we're speaking, which is a bit tricky. Um, I have I have a belief that you need to share. That's what it is. I have a belief that you need to share. And I mean, I still have that belief that if I've got extra to share, then I share it.
Yep.
Okay, that's what money is for. At the end of the day, you have enough for yourself and some to share. What more do you
Yes.
want? Then you're
Yes.
wealthy, sharing with friends. And so I suppose in a way, I was, I'm in a way was looking for friendship, was looking for a connection through doing that. But what you see in another person, they reflect to you maybe what you want to see, not what's really there. And then you make the mistake. So it's complicated. It's not that easy to
Yep.
pinpoint one thing here. I
Yep.
mean, I've got over that. I don't hand out my money right, left, right. I'll never do that again because it was a lot of money and I realized how stupid I was. So that was enough of a lesson for me. But, but then I also feel I don't know about any of you, and nobody has to believe this, but I do believe in karma. And I think I owed that person that money from a past life. And that's why I was so stupid and did it. So the other thing about making big mistakes is don't beat yourself up about it too much.
Yep.
Because sometimes you have to make those mistakes and you are blinded so that you will make that mistake because you maybe owed a debt. I don't know if does that make any sense to you, Matura?
I think it does. I mean, like sometimes you have to go through that experience. You have to do that thing and get it done with, right? Like I think
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yep.
Yeah, there's been many times in my life where I've turned around and I said, what on earth was I thinking? That was so dumb. Why did you say that? Why did you go and say those things to that person? There was no real reason for you to actually do it, but I was blinded and I went like a bull through a china shop and did it. And, and I regretted it. But when I looked into it, and that's the beauty of the work I do, I can really look deeply into the reason why. And then I
Yep.
found actually they had to hear what I had to say. They had to hear those words, and somebody had to say it. And I
Yep.
was the person, the messenger, you know.
Yep.
So I got over it. But
Yep.
yeah, tricky. Life is tricky, full of twists
Yes.
and turns. Yes.
I like that. I like that. I agree. I think a lot of times we don't really know why is it happening at that point in time, and then later on when you look back, some things will make a little bit more sense. So, like, I
Yes.
have another question for you, right? Which is something I like
Yes.
to ask again all of my speakers. Now that you look back, like, what is the one, because like I feel like everyone does have some guidelines that they follow when it comes to money. Even the person who is so horrible at managing money is still has some guidelines that they follow in a way. So like for yourself, when you look back in your life, like what are some of the things you always followed in terms of money management in a way, a principle
Okay,
in a way?
well, for me, I think I was happy. I think the one major principle is that when you're starting out, you live within your means. You don't buy the moment you get some money. You don't go and splurge it on a handbag or shoes or on a holiday home or a fancy car or a yacht or anything like that. You
Yep.
don't do that. And my husband and I, we really, when we started out, he was very good at that. And I didn't have a clue really, but I was happy to go along with it. So it means that I must have had it in my subconscious that this was sensible. We never spent anything more than we needed, really, to maybe to a bit of an extreme, but we still had a good time. We did what we wanted to do, but we saved. We saved a lot. And I'm not saying that saving is the best idea these days,
Yeah.
but we lived within our means. We didn't buy a mansion. We didn't have to keep up with anybody. We just lived within our means. And because of that, we were able to build up capital. Okay. And at the end of the day, uh, that stood us in very good stead because, like, for the first 12 years, it took 12 years to make the first R1 million. Now, Rand isn't worth very much these days, but at that time it was worth quite a lot. But
Yeah.
then the next 6 years we had 2 million, and the next 3 years we had 4 million, and then it just escalated from there. And we had a good amount of luck as well,
Yep.
but the principle is there: start modest, be modest. So I would say that's a guiding principle. You need a roof over your head. You need to be able to look after yourself. That's key. And
Yep.
you've got to do that and be able to do that comfortably. And when you can do that, then you have a little bit left over, you invest that, and then you build it up and you keep doing that, but you keep your lifestyle the same. So don't grow your lifestyle with your bank account.
Yeah.
Okay, until you
Yes.
really are free and you've got so much money you don't know what to do with it, then that's fine.
Yeah.
Then buy your yacht, but only when you've got so much money you don't know what to do with it all, I would say.
Yes. Yes, I agree. I agree. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes anybody and everybody makes. Even a slight increase in my income, I also have the tendency to like, hey, okay, let's eat at a fancier restaurant today. Then I'm like, why did this thought come into my head? It's just because my
Yeah,
bank
yeah,
balance
and
is
it
slightly higher
starts
than.
small like that. It's small like that.
Yep.
Money burns a hole in your pocket. It's a lovely saying. Some people, money just burns a hole in their pocket. They've got to go and spend it. And you know what? Every now and then, you've got to let yourself go. I do agree. Okay. But you've got to, in general, you know, keep control, keep
Manage.
sensible. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So I think like today's topic, it's about limiting beliefs in money as well as entrepreneurship. So I thought we can go through some of the beliefs that we may have, like something that the audience can also like think about and connect to. Like, what are the beliefs that kind of like stops you in terms of progressing towards your money goals?
Okay, so as far as money, let's just talk about money. What beliefs do people often have about money? That the one that is very big is you have to be poor in order to get close to God. All right. Now, You may not believe in God. You might be an atheist. Okay, that
Yep.
it's irrelevant what you believe now, but if that belief is in your subconscious, and it can come from anywhere, it can come from people around you, from your parents. You get beliefs pushed in, if it's the general thought in the country that you live in, that if you have to be poor to get close to God, well, you haven't got a hope in hell of making a lot of money, because your subconscious will say the moment you get money in, get rid of it now, because your spiritual development is not going to happen. Okay, and you might not have any belief, and that's why it's so confusing when you
Yeah.
find yourself doing that. And if you come into my office and I say, well, you've got this belief, but you say, but I'm an atheist, I don't believe in God. Please, don't tell me that. But it's got nothing to do with what your conscious mind is saying now. It's in your subconscious. Your subconscious governs like 90% of what you do. And if your
Yep.
subconscious has got that belief, it ain't going to work for you. So that is one that a lot of people have. All right,
Wow.
there are a lot of people have them. So to find out if you may have that is, do you feel guilty when you have money? Guilt is a big indicator. If you feel guilty that you've got more than your neighbor, or
Yeah.
than your brother or your sister or your mother or your father, that happens to people. They become successful at work, and then the rest of the family are, like they're poor and destitute type of thing, or they never seem to make it, and then they sabotage themselves. So maybe if somebody, that they sabotage themselves, they find themselves losing the job, and it isn't because they weren't capable of doing it. It's just that they couldn't bear to be in a better space than the people around them.
Yep.
So maybe if your listeners might want to put in the comments if they have that belief or they notice it within themselves.
Yeah.
You
Share, guys. If you
know.
do have the belief, feel free to drop it in the comments. Like if you can connect to any of the things that Brad was saying.
Yeah, so that's one. And
Yep.
have you got any other questions, Natura? Do you want me to tell another one?
Yeah, I
Another
think
one
it'd
might
be
be,
nice to
yeah,
go through.
another one might be that you have to work hard to make a living. Oh my
Yep.
word. How many of us have that? And if you're not working hard, you're never going to get rich, and you're never going to have enough money, and you've got to work 24/7. And that's an absolute fallacy. You can
Yep.
have some relative from past die and leave you with a fortune. You know, you don't have to work hard. You can work smart, and it doesn't mean to say you mustn't work. But if you've got that belief that you have to work hard to make a living, well, the universe is going to keep you working hard, and you
Yep.
still haven't made the living, because if you make the living, then you stop working hard, and then the subconscious says, no, you have to work hard. So it loses the money. So there you go. Yeah, so that's another one. I have to work hard. So if you find yourself working 24/7, stop and think, is this really what life is about? Is this really, at the end of the day, if I died tomorrow, should I actually have worked so hard? What did I miss?
Yep.
That's not what life is about. You need money to keep a roof over your head, and you don't be a burden on anybody else. That's why you need it. So get it for that. And then once you've got that, then, you've done enough. Okay.
Yep.
So,
I like that because like many times even for myself when I sometimes I think of like okay I need to earn more money so that I can do this like go on this trip that I've always wanted to go or like purchase this thing that I've always wanted but I need an additional amount of funds to get it. And the first thing that always comes to mind, like, okay, I need to do something more and work more hours and get more stuff done so that I can earn the money. That's like the immediate thought process that comes into my mind. Like, if I need more money, it means I need to do like double, triple the work that I'm currently doing so that it will come to me. And I think
exactly. Yeah.
that is kind of like why the belief you mentioned is why that thought immediately comes in.
Yes. And exactly. So there's many ways of, if you need extra money, do you actually have to work harder to get it, or can you partner with somebody so that the work is halved and you can double the money, or can you charge more for what you're doing, or can are you charging the right amount, or there's plenty out there on advice on how to not have to work harder. but
Yep.
work smarter. Yeah, and the
Yep.
first thought should be, well, I'm already stretched, but I still want that. So how can I get that into my life without stretching myself even further?
Yep.
And then that's a nice little challenge. So by the time you've got what you wanted, you find that you didn't really want what you got, but you wanted the challenge. So, and you
Yes.
succeeded, and then you feel great about it.
Yes.
So yeah,
Very, very
it's very
interesting.
interesting. It's a very interesting concept as well. The one that you think you want something, like you want that smart car, and when you get it, well, 5 minutes later you've now driven it. Now you're over it. Now you want the yacht. It
Yes.
never ends. So the other way of being wealthy without spending any money at all is just to imagine that you've already to get the feeling. So when you buy a beautiful car, what you're buying is the feeling of driving a beautiful car. That's what you're buying. So if you can imagine yourself driving that car and feeling it, and feel as if you already have it, then you feel wealthy already.
Yep.
It's not, a wealthy person is one who feels that they have everything. So why don't you look at what you've got and feel, oh wow, I've got all of this, and I'm so grateful. So that's where the gratitude story comes in. There's a
Yep.
lot to it, but it's very beautiful, this thing that you're not really buying the smart car. You're buying the feeling you get of accomplishing something, of feeling worthy. In fact, it's often I feel worthy because I've got this car. I must be worth something. Why don't
Yep.
you work on feeling worthy first, and then bother about the car later? It's a hell of a lot cheaper. Trust me.
Yes. It would be a hell of a lot cheaper. It's so true.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I've never seen it that way. Thank you for sharing that. Like one of the things I feel, right? Like a lot of us, we don't really notice these things. Like you mentioned, it's happening in the background, and it's something probably that could come out of nowhere, like some past your parents' generation, all of that, right?
oh
So like,
right, yeah.
how does one become more aware of these things and like start taking the conscious effort to address these
Okay.
different
Bringing
feelings?
it from the subconscious to the conscious. Okay. The first thing is, it's wonderful to be in a bad space. Okay. I say that because it's only when you're in a bad space do you bother to look,
Yep, that
right?
is so true.
So when you're in a bad space, think to yourself, if you can, write this on your fridge. When I'm in a bad space, what is the benefit for me? Okay. What is your benefit? And if it means that you see, okay, you've got a bad habit of every time you've got some money, you spend it, then you get an accountability buddy, okay, immediately. And you get someone to say, okay, I've got who you trust, because they mustn't run off with your money. But you put it in their control until you've got over that feeling, I have to spend
Yep,
it. Okay. So when you're in a bad space, so some people get themselves into terrible debt,
yep,
terrible, terrible financial difficulty. And that's hard. But trust me, the lessons you learn in getting out of that are far more valuable and will hold you in such good stead for the future, that you are much wiser than a person who's never been through it. So never be disheartened when everything's going wrong. That is
yep.
the time when you really look at yourself and get yourself some help, get some mentorship, say, I keep making this mistake. How do I stop it? If you keep making a mistake, that's a subconscious belief. So
Yep.
don't beat yourself up about it. All right. But if you don't do something about it, then you have my permission to beat yourself up about
All right, all right, all right. So like, don't beat yourself up over it, but find something to do with. I think like that's where a lot of us get stuck. We will not take that action of finding help or like doing things differently, and that's why we keep going round and round and round.
Yeah, you don't change, and it's noticing it. I think the first thing is to notice it. And
Yep.
people come to me when they're in a generally people only come to me when they really have nowhere else to go, are in an impossible situation, and it doesn't seem that they can possibly get themselves out of it.
Yep.
And that's sad. You should come to me when you know everything. Really, that's the time, because then you don't have to go through that pain and trauma. But there we go. Human
Yeah.
nature is like, I'm
Yes.
okay, I don't need anything. And then, yeah, but you find out in the end that you do need something. So, yes, it is it's a very interesting space. And the other thing is to never think that you are not capable of getting yourself out. That's the worst possible thing to think.
Yep.
If you think you're a loser, you're not. Nobody is a loser. You just haven't got the skills. All right.
Yes.
And knowing that you haven't got the skills. So let's take, for example, what is the difference between a wealthy farmer and a farmer who's got nothing? All right. The only difference is that the wealthy farmer knows how to farm the land better. That's the only difference.
Yep.
He's learned and he's found out. And,
Yep.
it wasn't just given to him on a platter. Trust me, wealthy people have worked very, very hard with their minds to get to that. They have got the skills. All you need is to get the skills and the knowledge that you can always learn more. And yeah, and put it in the right place.
Yep. I have an audience question here.
Yes.
It kind of relates to the first thing we talked about today, which is some have the belief that one must give away some portion of their income for charity. So
Yes. Okay. That is a very strong belief. All right. So you should give away your portion. Look, I don't. I think that the first person you need to be charitable to is yourself. Okay. If you have not got enough to share, then you become a burden if you share some of it.
yep.
Becoming a burden draws the energy from everybody else. Okay, your first port of call when charity comes into view is that you have to look after yourself. Once you've looked after yourself and you're okay, then you can share. And it's wonderful to share, and to share with people who that don't have they don't seem to have the means to come out of where they are, or where it makes your heart feel good. So always having to give something to charity when you've got nothing, no, I can't go along with that myself personally. And I think that 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 comes, we've all inherited that. It's a very
Yep.
strong biblical belief. 10% of your time, but also time, you can give of yourself rather than give of your money. Okay, if you need your money to pay your rent, etc., use the money for that, but you can always give some of your time somewhere.
Yep.
If you've got a Sunday morning where you can go and help somewhere, that's enough. Okay.
Yes. Yes, I think it did. Alagendran, please do let us know if that answered your question. Um, so we are coming quite close to the end of our time. So I have one last question that I think I'd like to ask you. I think our audience today, we have some students here that I see in the comments, and I also have some adults here who are entrepreneurs and all of that. So maybe instead of doing the youngsters only, but generically, for maybe one takeaway that you can share for the youngsters and one more for the adults in this audience. What should we
Okay.
be taking away from this session and working on?
Okay, as a youngster, what I would have liked to have known was more about money, more about money management, how to invest, especially in property. So my takeaway, if you're a youngster, if you don't know how to handle your finances, you're going to be doomed, and life will live you instead of you living life.
Yep.
Okay. And it's not a materialistic thing. You can be spiritual, and you can, love people, but you have to look after yourself. So what I would have liked to have had from my parents, that they taught me, you've got to look after yourself. You've got to find the means. You have it in you. find a way. I would have loved that to have learned that when I was younger, and I didn't actually get that. I
Yeah.
found it out too late. Well, okay, not too late. I'm okay. I can look after
You're okay
myself.
now.
Okay, I'm okay now. But if you can, as youngsters, take that to heart, realize that actually everything you study may not be of use. At least study something that's going to help you look after yourself.
Yep.
Okay? And it doesn't matter what job you do, just do it with a beautiful heart. And then for older people, yes, I think for you, look at what you're doing. Look at where you feel sabotaged, where you feel you're just hitting a brick wall. Look at the pain that you have. Look at your pain and say to yourself, well, where is this coming from? Is there possibly a belief that keeps me doing this? And
Yep.
let me do something about lifting that belief, and so that I can move on and not make the same mistake over and over. So that's my two takeaways.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for that. Because like even for me now, I'm like, okay, so let's see where are the parts I am struggling a lot and see what is the thing that is stopping me right there and find ways to address it and fix it in a way.
Right, yes. So, if you
Yep.
want it done quickly, you come chat to me. That's me.
Yes.
That's my plug-in, okay? Very
Yes.
fast, okay? It's
So
super
if you
fast.
guys, I think Beryl, what you have shared is really interesting today, and I think some of the people in the audience, if you guys are interested to have a chat and actually work with Beryl on her on yourself, there is a way for you to reach out to her. One, you can definitely check out her website, soulcoach.me. I'm dropping the link in the chat box right now, so please do click on the link, go and check it out and see how you can work with her. And the other thing, or somebody else says, thanks, well explained. And other than that, you can also follow Beryl on Facebook. All right, so I'm dropping the link on the chat. If you guys are looking for it, it's Soul Coach Beryl. And please do follow her, guys. I think Beryl does a lot of YouTube videos. There's articles. There's a lot of things we can actually go and watch. And of course, your own services. You actually do the. We have the, what is this, free discovery call that they can book, and they can work
Yes,
with you as well.
that's very good. Free discovery call.
Yes,
Perfect.
so do check out her website and schedule a time if you're looking for these services. And thank you so much, Beryl, for taking your time. I think you
Well,
have a
it's been
lot
a
of
great
experience to share.
pleasure. It's been a great pleasure, and thank you very much. And I wish you all the best. And please don't make those silly mistakes that I made. Okay.
I'll definitely take that into heart. And all of you guys, please do take something that really caught your attention today. Just pick one thing and learn from it. I think that's what Money Matters is all about. Is us learning from each other's experiences. And I hope you guys had a great session. Thank you so much once again, Beryl. I'm going to remove you from the screen.
Thank
Take care.
you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. All.
So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Money Matters. Like I mentioned, you can actually follow Beryl on her Facebook. So I'm just dropping the link on the comments as well as the banner. So if you are watching somewhere else, you can just take note of the link and please do go and follow her, guys. I think there's a lot of exciting services that she provides, and I'm sure it will benefit you in some way. If you are new to Money Matters, like I mentioned earlier, you can subscribe and watch all of our previous episodes, and you will also get notifications for all of our future upcoming episodes as well. And I have a good news to share with all of you. Something exciting is taking place, and I'm very, very excited to share this. Basically, I will be launching I think this is my first book. Do I call it my first book? Yes, my first book soon. It is called Money Matters as well. And I am super duper excited because just like what Barry shared, right? I actually personally, as a youngster who did accounting, I was still quite dumb in terms of making money mistakes. So I made plenty of mistakes and I learned from them as a young adult. And I've actually compiled these experiences in sharing in this book. And what I hope to do is to reach out to all the youngsters out there so that you can read through and learn from my mistakes and make sure that you take the right steps in terms of career, in terms of finance, in a way that brings you closer to your goals. So we are having our soft launch. I would like to invite all of you. to the soft launch next on 9th of December 2021, 8 p.m. GMT plus 8, UTC plus 8. And we'll be doing this on YouTube, so you can actually RSVP for our session. I would like to kindly invite all of you who's watching today, all of you who may be watching this before 9th of December. Do join us for the soft launch. It would mean a lot to me to have all of your presence there, and basically have fun with me. We will go through about, we will discuss the book, we will discuss why I wrote the book, maybe a little bit of book reading as well. And I'm dropping the link in the comments. Um, you can actually click on the link and RSVP and book your seat, and you will receive the link on your WhatsApp or email as well. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Hope you guys had a great session today. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday and come back to Money Matters next week so that you can continuously keep learning something new on Money Matters. Madhura signing off. Take care, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and please do like and subscribe so that you never miss an episode. Do share this episode with your friends and family. And if you like this episode, leave us a review on our Facebook page, facebook.com/simplyempowering. Money Matters is where we aim to provide valuable content to inspire and empower you on your money matters. Thank you once again for watching this episode, and see you guys at the next one.